This is Real Talk with Brendan Bardick, where we'll be talking about the latest real estate strategies, scripts, top producing techniques, and everything you're going to want to know about how to be an elite real estate agent or real estate coach, or just a great business person. Hi, my name is Brendan Bardick with Brendan Bardick Real Estate Coaching, where our mission is to train the most elite real estate agents and coaches on earth. Today, we're going to be talking about the best listing presentation on earth. Now, I've done thousands of listing presentations in my career. So I've started from really terrible to better to getting even better to one of the systems that I feel is probably one of the best, if not the best listing presentation on earth. I'm going to teach you some of those tips and skills and strategies today. We also offer an entire course that covers this. It's called List Like a Boss, right? Where I take you through in detail, specifically every single step of the process. Today, I'm going to be giving you some of my favorite strategies and tips from that course in a kind of condensed, shortened version that I know you're going to get a lot of value from, that you'll be able to use today on your next presentation to make sure that you leave with signatures and a signed listing agreement. All right. So when we talk about the listing presentation, the first thing we want to talk about is know the players, right? So we got to know who we're going to be meeting with. Now, when I talk about know the players, this comes from, and you can go find this on our Facebook group page, our checklist, our lead form for when we do a listing. So when I'm talking to a possible seller on the phone, we have a lead listing form that we fill out that we offer for free to you to utilize, that gets all the information I'm going to need. So when I arrive at the appointment, I know who the players are. I know what I need to say, what personality style they are. We go over the disc profile in the class. We go over all these things because a lot of that psychology makes a huge difference when I'm on the appointment. So I got to know who the players are. Now, in looking at that, a lot of this comes from questions. I can find out a lot about somebody if I ask them questions. So for example, if I'm trying to find out if you are a D driver or to the point, all of this, I'm going to simply ask, so, John, what's the most important thing to you during the course of the sale of getting your home sold? And they're going to go, da, 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 da. That's going to tell me so much. If he says the price, the experience, the marketing, the time, who I'm working with, I'm going to know so much from these types of questions. So the best thing about all of this is all you have to do is ask the questions, make sure you do the form correctly, and you really can't screw it up too bad. That's why we made a form, because I didn't want to screw it up, okay? So we got to know the players. The next thing we've got to do is we've got to stalk the players. So we got to be a stalker. So what that means is that I'm doing as much research as humanly possible that I can to find out every single thing about the owners of the home. So where do you start? LinkedIn, obviously, if you can go to LinkedIn. Social media, Google their name. Again, asking them questions. I'm going to be a stalker of everything I can figure out, because the more that I can build rapport with that person, the more that I understand about that person, the more that I know what they care about, the better success I'm going to have. It's all about them, not about me. So I'm going to stalk them as much as possible. In fact, I just did this on an appointment where I found out that the seller he taught accounting, right? He taught accounting at a junior college. So obviously, ding, ding, I'm going to know that the numbers are going to be very important to him, right? And again, I'm not trying to stereotype him, but if you're teaching accounting at a college, you probably like numbers. I would hope so, or you really are in the wrong field. So now I know, okay, when I go in there, I'm going to be talking about this, that, everything number related, and not going to be talking about, hey, so what's your favorite football team and all of this stuff. Not to say I wouldn't, but I'm saying I'm going to target it more towards the numbers because I know what he's into. So think about that. Whatever you can find out, maybe they're into charity, maybe they're into this, whatever it is, use that to build conversation and rapport. Plus, you can start to name drop certain things, right? So think about it. I know he's an accountant now. And when I'm on the appointment, he doesn't know that I know this. So when I'm on the appointment, think about how smooth and slick this is, right? So yeah, you know what, Steve, it's so great you having me over. You're talking to him, you're kind of, building rapport. And as you go through the property, and we teach all this, like I said, but then you just kind of drop in there. So yeah, you know what? My type of client that usually interacts well with me are people that love the numbers. So Steve, accountants, bookkeepers, I work, a lot of math teachers love me. Boom. See how smooth that is, right? They're going to be like, his little ears are going to go ding, ding, ding. Ooh, I'm an accountant teacher. He might not say it. He doesn't need to say it. And you're not going to be like, hey, so I heard you're an accountant or teach accounting or whatever it is. No, it's just subtle, 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 subtle. So be a stalker. Second piece about being a stalker is we've got to stalk the neighborhood, right? So we got to find out everything about that neighborhood. So drive it early. Are there any coming soon signs? What's the closest park? What's the closest school? What are any things that I can talk about when I'm there to show them and make them understand that I am a specialist in that neighborhood? All right. So if there's a walking trail or a super target or whatever it is, the more I can talk about the area, the more they go, knows what he's talking about, official. This guy's official. He's not some jerk off. It becomes very important. So stalk the neighborhood. Okay. All right. Main, top, bottom. All right. So main, top, bottom. People were laughing about this one, and I was like, but this is really a big secret sauce that I utilize on almost all of my appointments is when I go into the home, the first thing they do is the seller's going to, you knock on the door, again, 10 minutes early, and we talk about our whole pre-listing piece in the full class, but they open the door, first thing they're going to ask you, come on in, would you like to see the house? No, it's okay. Thank you so much for having me over. First thing I always do, take my shoes off, period, end of story, unless the house is a crack house and there's like syringes. No matter what, they're going to be like, no, you don't have to. Hey, look, I completely understand. No, you have a beautiful home. I want to respect this beautiful home. I'm going to take my shoes off. Instantly shows them I care about the product. To do this, make sure you have nice socks. You look like, you can't have holes and weird pizza socks. I've seen the weirdest things in our office. So have nice socks or nice, feet if you have to. Then the next thing, so I'm saying, no, they're going to ask you to show you the home. You go, no. What I'd like to do is sit down and review the goals and just make sure that I understand everything you're trying to accomplish. Does the living room work best for you? And then I take them. Now, if there's no furniture, you take them to the kitchen and do the best you can, right? But you take them to an area where people would congregate and feel comfortable. So congregate and feel comfortable. Now, after that, I teach a whole process on what we do during this intro meeting. That's in a separate class, List Like a Boss. But after that, then the next piece is I go, great, I'm going to set the standard for how I want to see the home. So Betty, John, thank you so much. Now that I understand the goals and you understand how I operate and all that, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take me through the home. I'd like to start on the main floor first, and as we're going through the property, I want you to point out any notes about what you think are selling features. And on the other side of that, anything you think might be a concern in the eyes of a buyer. Then I'd like you to take me upstairs to the top floor or upstairs. And then I'd like to go to the bottom and see the basement, if there is one. And then after that, I'd like to put my shoes back on and have us do a full 360 around the property. So just something I call main, top, bottom. Main, top, bottom, right? It's just kind of easy way. Now, why do I do that? Why does that even matter? It matters because it shows that I have a system. It shows that I'm taking control. Now, if they sit there and they go, hey, look, hey, we're going to show, hey, let me show you this. Then I have a system and my system works. So, and you got to just be nice about it, but your system works. They start showing you around, then they're in control, they're running you around, and you're going, so you walk in and they go, would you like to see the house? And you're like, sure, let's go check it out. And then you're walking around, they're like, oh, hey, what do you think? Oh, that's cool. Make sure you have your Padfolio, a nice notebook. You're taking notes. When they're taking you through the property, their heart and soul might be in this home. Everything they've done in their life could be in this home. So you have to make sure you're thinking about it with that much care when you're going through it. So you're taking detailed notes. You are going, wow. Now, here's the other kind of pro tip is if they go, well, what do you think about this, the staging and all of this? You're not there to give free staging tips. I see agents do this all the time. They're at a listing appointment for 4 hours because they ended up moving furniture with the person because they think this is going to earn the listing, and then they end up not even taking the listing. They're not hiring a stager. They're hiring a real estate professional. I have somebody that can do the staging for me, right? So again, a staging consultation, we also cover why this is so important and how it can be done very inexpensively and very effectively when you do it right, and can get you out of spending thousands on staging. So again, if you want more info on that, check out the class. But other than that, what I'm really looking at is I'm taking notes going, yes, I agree. Yes, that's beautiful. If it's beautiful, wow, impressive, wonderful. Look at this. Everything is so great. Then after we do that, we're going to go back. Now, first we were in the living room, if at all possible. Now I'm going back to the kitchen because now we're about to do business at the dining room table, right? Preferably the kitchen table, not the dining room table, if at all possible. Kitchen table, more relaxed. Dining room table, more formal. I prefer the kitchen table. Again, clients sitting directly across from the moving forward. So we cover that entire system, and there are so many nuances to this that I can teach you throughout this entire process that'll improve your conversion and make sure you leave with a signed signature, which brings us to number 4, not leaving, okay? Now, I know some of you out there, for some bizarre reason, were taught a 2-part listing presentation and where you go and look at the house first and then you come back, and that is the craziest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. Do you know how many listings I've personally taken from other agents that went there first and then said that they would come back and for a second appointment? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe I don't even know how many, but a ton, hundreds at the very minimum, where I've taken listings because the other agent said they were going to come back. Guess who didn't come back? Because I made the call to them saying they didn't need to come back because I had the signed signature right there. So 2-part listing presentation does not work at the highest level. Now you go, well, it's worked for me. I've done it multiple times. Okay. I would love to talk to anybody that's doing that, that's doing 200, 300, 400, 500 listings a year. Feel free to reach out to me personally. I'm so curious to hear that system because it's not effective for time. That's the main reason that it's not effective, and that people can come back and snake you when you're not there. So think about that. I'm there and I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving without a signed listing agreement. That's it. Period. End of story. I am not leaving without a signed listing agreement. So to do that, that means I have to be prepared. I have to have the listing agreement completely filled out except for 2 things. The price and the exclusions. Inclusions and or exclusions, but inclusions and exclusions. I should be able to know every single thing else pre-filled out before I go in there, and that's extremely powerful when I get to that part which we teach in the entire course. So I've got to be prepared. Again, I'm not leaving. I've sat at a table, and again, the seller would be like, hey, you know what, Brendan, we want to sleep on it. Objection handler, which I will teach you. Objection handler, move on to the next. Hey, Brendan, this. Objection handler, move on to the next. Objection handler, go for the close. Objection handler, move on to the next. Until the point where they were sitting there and the seller, husband and wife, or whoever it was, is looking at each other going, yeah, I mean, wow. If he's this tenacious on, going over the presentation, imagine what he's going to do when he sells our home. That's what I come across. That's the power and the energy of just making a decision, 100% commitment in your mind that you're not leaving without signatures. 100% commitment that I'm going to this appointment and I am leaving with a signed listing agreement, lockbox on the door, and that's already been decided 100% in my mind. I see and talk to a lot of agents that go in going, Here's where you set up yourself wrong from the beginning. Hey, I've got a listing appointment tomorrow. I hope I get it. I hope I get it. I have a listing appointment tomorrow and I hope I get it. You just now mentally told yourself you barely have a 50-50 chance. That would be like it's crazy to me. That would be like me going to play blackjack, and I'm playing blackjack and I'm pure gambling and I'm going, man, I hope I get 21, right? I hope I get blackjack. Well, look, that's a pretty you're gambling. I'm not gambling on my career and on my presentation. I'm going in 100%. I'm leaving with a signed listing agreement. I'm not risking walking out of there and losing $10,000, $15,000, $50,000, $100,000 because I didn't practice my scripts well enough, my objection handlers, my listing presentation is soft or weak. I'm not going to let that happen to me. So to do this, what do you have to do, right? To be able to be in that position. First of all, you have to have confidence, and confidence comes from practice. I didn't just wake up one day and was like, great, I'm really going to be the best at this listing presentation and sit there until you sign. Now, I can already hear some of you going, well, that's not who I am, Brendan. I'm not pushy. I'm not an aggressive salesperson. Neither am I. That's not who I am. But I went through, and I know in my heart of hearts, I'm the best person on earth to get their home sold. And when I'm sitting there, I've already have that mindset, and I've been telling myself that every single day, every day of my life. I've worked on my skills. I've done the practice. I know that I'm there. Now, if you're new and you're starting out and you don't believe that yet, you got to fake it till you make it. You got to fake it till you make it and pretend that you are the best until you build into the best, right? So you've got to do that. But otherwise, when you're there, this isn't sales. People are like, what's your secret sales technique? There is no sales technique. That's a secret. It's I have an amazing value proposition that I provide to clients and make them know that I'm going to work harder, smarter, faster than anyone else out there. And they would be out of their minds if they didn't move forward right now. I don't tell them that last part. But I do tell them everything else. I'm going to eat, sleep, live, and die to get your home sold. I'm going to do everything on earth to get you what you want. These are the kind of things that people want to experience. Now, again, you got to add your own flair to it. If you're very reserved, you can be like, hey, look, my presentation does my talking. My marketing does my talking. But then you still are going to get to that point where just naturally they're going to say, that all sounds great, but John, we just want to spend the night to think about it. And here's my closer for that. So this is my favorite one. So Sally, you do feel I can get your home sold, correct? Well, yeah. They always say, yeah. I've never had anybody in my entire career go, no. They go, yeah. Then I go, let's do the right thing and put me to work. Boom, put the pen. Let's do the right thing and put me to work. Put the pen down, stare at them, and shut up. It's all you do. Yeah, Brendan, I'm sure you're great, but we want to at least interview two more agents to do this. All right, I completely understand. Sally, was there anything that I left out of my presentation that you think that someone else is going to bring to the table, or anything else that we want to discuss that I didn't cover in my presentation? Well, no. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I know that. So on top of that, one of the things I offer, Sally, is a 100% satisfaction guarantee. What that means is that at any time, if you're not 100% satisfied with my level of service, you can cancel our agreement at any time. So Sally, that could be tomorrow morning. You could still go ahead and waste, a few more hours interviewing these other agents if you felt that's what you wanted to do. Interview them. If you like them, you could still call me up and cancel. No problem. Anytime you want. Sally, I'm so confident, and I've built my entire business on integrity, that I know I'm the best agent for you. So let's go ahead and do the right thing and put me to work. That's the pitch. That's the pitch. And you got to own it and you believe it. And you got to role play that. And you got to practice that. And you got to get it, record yourself doing it. Have a mirror doing it. That 3-minute session could be worth $20,000. Heck, for the future client and the marketing and you get the buyer, that's a $100,000 possibility because you didn't decide, missed if you didn't decide to practice strong enough. If you decided not to role play, if you decided not to put your heart into it, if you didn't commit to not leaving without a signature. All right? So I would love to hear your comments on this. I would love for you to subscribe so you can get all of our information. Check out our courses. Go to our Facebook page, so Brendan Bardick Real Estate Coaching private group page, to get that lead form, scripts, dialogues, checklist, everything you're going to need to have a massive listing presentation career. And as always, I wish you great success.